our children? 2024. Should we still be beating our children in 2024? Now, I speak on this on behalf of a child, myself, that got beatings. I got severe beatings. And when you talk about ass whoopings, I got my ass whooped. Should we still be beating children in this year? Now, I'm not gonna lie. There's been times where I've given a slap on the wrist a couple times to my daughters. I have. But as far as beating is concerned, where it's just like you did something so outwardly crazy that I gotta get a belt or a similar object. You guys know what I'm talking about. Objects you can find outside, objects you can find in your closet, objects you can find in the bathroom, or hangers on the floor. Anyway, should we be beating our children? Because I am a not so proud recipient of a Benadryl beating. Like I'm talking, you guys know what a Benadryl beating is? I'm talking about that beating you get beat so bad you go to sleep and you wake up in cold sweats, just that kind of beating. That's what I got. I got that kind of beating. Like I remember getting beat to a point. I remember I did something so bad. I don't know what I did. I do not remember. But back in the day, school days, I did something so bad. I got home. My mom, mind you, worked, I think she worked to the evening time around this time. I got home thinking I'm gonna escape this beating. I thought I was slick. I was like, you know what? She ain't gonna remember. Let me get home so I could erase the voicemail. Back in the day, we had the little answering machine messages with the little, you guys remember that? Millennials? Anyway, we had the answering machine message tape. So I thought I'm gonna get home before my mom. I'm gonna get into that evidence, that little chamber that the tape was held in. I'm going to erase the message. I don't know how I was gonna do this, but I'm going to erase the message that my mom can possibly come home and see. And I'm like, you know what? No, she can't hear this message, because she hears this message, she gonna whoop my ass when she get home. So I thought, me as a kid, I thought I was slick. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna erase this message before she gets home, and I'm going to lay down when she gets home. That way, when she gets home, I'm gonna escape the ass whooping. You guys in the comments, you guys, what you guys think about that? Were you guys getting beatings as a child? Because I know I was. I was getting some severe Benadryl size beatings. And when I say Benadryl, I say Benadryl that put you to sleep after the beating. You know, I'm a kid at that moment, so I thought me going to sleep would escape the ass whooping. I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I just thought I'm gonna escape. You know, I'm not gonna worry too much, because by the time I go to sleep and I wake up, magically my mom is going to forget what I did previously. She's not gonna remember that I got in trouble in school. I got in trouble in school and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. She's gonna think, oh yeah, you're okay. I love you. Go to school. That's what I thought. But you guys ever got woken up out of your sleep to get beat? I was a recipient of that. I remember one night I was sleeping and I woke up. And you guys know when the sun hits you when you're outside? Like it was almost like the sun hit me and I was just squinting. I was like, what is that bright light? Guess what that bright light was? It was the belt coming towards me. That woke me up out of my sleep. That's the type of beating that I got when I was a child. So again, my question to you guys is, do you guys still believe in beatings for your children? It's 2024 and we're about to go into 2025. Do you guys think we should still be doing this? Or do you guys think we should be discussing it with our children? Me personally, I try to discuss it with my children. It's not always easy because we live in a life where things are changing, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I want my children to be disciplined. I want them to listen to me. I want them to grow up with morals. I don't want them to be doing certain things. But how can we stop that? How can we stop them from doing the wrong things? Because life is all about making mistakes, right? It's all about making mistakes. Yeah, just like you guys said. I'm just reading the comments here. You're right. There are smarter ways to program good behavior. And that's part of parenthood, I feel. I feel like part of parenthood is just learning what you can do to be a better parent. Through your mistakes, through lessons learned, because there's a lot of lessons I'm still learning. I'm not perfect. And I feel like we as parents can learn from each other. We can learn from another parent's mistake, just like another parent can learn from my mistakes. And that's why we get on here, because I want to communicate with people that are like-minded as myself. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what everyone else is thinking, because I know I can't be the only one. I cannot be the only one to speak about this. Parenthood is not easy, right, guys? It is not easy, but it's a tough job, but it's something that we're going to cherish. Our kids are going to grow older one day, and they're going to see for themselves how hard parenthood is, but also how rewarding it is. So, like I said, guys, in 2025, do you guys think we should still continue with our beatings of our kids? Like, what do you guys think when it comes to that? Like, should we, does it depend on the severity of what they do, of the reasoning behind if you should beat your child or not? Because it still goes on around the world. We still, there are still switches being pulled out. There are still hangers being pulled out. If you guys know what I'm talking about, this is like old school parent beatings. Like, people are pulling out branches, they're pulling out all type of things to beat their children with. Some may call it abuse, others will call it, this is a part of our culture. And what do you guys think about that? Do you guys think it's right? Do you think we should be speaking more often to our children? And if so, what should we say to our children? Because me personally, I would speak to my children, especially after the mistake they make. I'm going to pull them aside and be like, listen, what did you learn from this situation? What did you think? Now I'm reading the comments. It can't be the solution for everything. You're right. You're 100% right. It cannot be the solution for everything. I agree with you. I don't think beating your child should be the solution for everything. And I love that you guys are on here commenting, because I want to hear what everyone is thinking about this subject, because this is a subject that isn't discussed a lot. Can you guys imagine the days where you see kids in the supermarket like having a full-blown tantrum, just like screaming above, ruining the whole place, screaming? There's people out there with kids in the stores. We all go through struggles, and we wonder what we can do in the moment to help our children and not be embarrassed. Because I've been there. I've been there when my children are having tantrums in the store, and me as a more experienced parent now, I have an 8 and a 4-year-old. I'm getting the experience I need. But me as a more experienced parent, I'm just like, all right, now I know what to do with younger kids. I know how to maneuver, within certain environments with younger kids, because I've been through it before. Just like parents that have older kids, they've been through certain experiences that they can shed light on for more younger rookie parents. And that's why we're on here. We try to just share our experiences to see how we can help other parents. Because don't let anybody tell you how to parent your child. Don't let anyone tell you that. We all have ways to parent our children, And don't get me wrong, it's great to take advice, but at the end of the day, you have to know what's best for your children. Your children are looking up to you, and they want to know that you're the person that's going to lead them in this lifestyle. Because once your children leave your home, it's your responsibility to let them know, listen, true love lies behind this door. I'm the one that loves you. I brought you into this world. I love you. But once you leave this door, once you leave out of this home, just know there may be a lot of people that do not like you before you even open up your mouth. And that's the truest thing I could say. That's the truest thing I could say. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think words are important more than actually beating your children? Which one do you think is going to affect your children in the long run? True questions. How do you think your child will feel? Do you think words are going to really make your child see that, oh, listen, okay, I got to understand based on what my mom or dad is saying that, yeah, I need to change my ways. I made a mistake and I need to change my ways. Compared to a belt, when you do something wrong and your parent automatically just beats you with the belt. What impact do you think is more important? Do you think the words are more important or the belt? Like I said, I've received both. I've received a belt back in the day. Mostly, I've received the belt. And, oh, did you say, let me read this comment. 3-strike rule? Yep, you're right, yep. There's been times where you do something wrong and you first of all, you have 3 strikes. So a lot of times, the first 2 strikes, your parents are more lenient. They say you have 3 strikes. You do those 3, you do the 3rd strike. That's when, okay, now bets are all off. Bets are all off. I don't know what your parents would do. My parent would not only beat me, but she would take my my game system. I remember I had the PlayStation back in the day. I remember that. Let me see. The most important thing, do not beat your child. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I honestly don't, in this day and age, in 2024, I am more about speaking to my children because I feel like that's where our kids can benefit the most. Yep, that's a good one. Chris says, I hate spanking my kids, but sometimes it calls for it. I agree. And I think it goes back to the fact of the severity of what your child does. So say your child did something like crazy. I'm talking about like they were in school. I'm just trying to think of a situation right now. They were in school and your child decided, I'm going to pull the fire alarm and I'm going to make everyone run out of the school just because it's a prank. Now, say your child did that. Would you beat your child when you got to see your child, or would you speak to them? Real talk, would you beat your child for that? Or would you feel like you need to talk to them to make them understand the severity of what they did? Now, some parents, based off their anger, would beat their child immediately as soon as they see the child. Like if your child pulled a fire alarm at school, in some parents' minds, the severity of that is, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. Okay, Chris says that's an ass-whoopable offense after I talk to them. Yep, I agree, man. Listen, our kids, they're on paths where they do stupid things. They really do a lot of ridiculous, stupid things. And it's to a point where it's like, we as parents, we can only have so much patience at times because we got a lot of stuff going on in our heads. We have a lot of things we're thinking about, with a lot of responsibilities. So when our children mess up so badly, it's like, with all of that responsibilities we have in our heads, all the things we're thinking about, we snap. We snap. And you go off on your child. It's like, what were you thinking about? Did you think pulling a school alarm was really a good idea? Did you think that was wise? Now let's make another example. If your child decides to, let me think of another example. This is another example. If your child decides to play a prank on the principal of the school, what would you guys do? Like say they went to the principal's car and they punctured his tire. Do you guys think that's an offense that your child should get in trouble for, and you should beat your child for that? Or do you think you should have more patience with your child and talk to them? What would you guys do in that case? So I'm just reading the comments here. So Jonathan says, talk to them about what they did and don't do it again. Okay. Chris says, my mom snapped and acted out of anger. I won't do the same. I love you guys' comments. Seriously, because I've had situations with my mom where I've done stuff that was wrong. Like I remember staying out after curfew. I was supposed to be back in the house at a certain time. And I was out riding my bike. Came back in the house. My mom was at the foot of the stairs. At the foot of the stairs waiting for me. It was the most scariest thing. It was almost like a horror movie. You know when Jason has the little machete, the big machete I should say, and he's like standing in the distance, just waiting, standing. That's how my mom looked at that time. I was terrified of my mom. My mom, and don't get me wrong, she's not like some 6'8" figure, you know, threatening, menacing. No, a petite woman. But when you see your parent that's supposed to be, you know, taking care of you, and they're mad, she looked like Jason Voorhees in that moment. I was just like, yeah, I got to get my act together because I can't keep getting in trouble like this. Like, I remember coming home and I broke curfew, and she was standing at the foot of the stairs, and she waited. I thought I was going to be slick and just come into the house and just resume my evening activities. It did not work out that way. And she said something very frightening to me. And it almost confused me when she said these words. She said, "Take off your clothes. I'm going to beat you." And that wasn't normal to me because I had to really sit and really think about what she just said. Take off your clothes. I'm going to beat you. What does that mean? I couldn't comprehend that in the moment because it was like, what are you talking about? Like, how am I going to get beat without my clothes? Then I figured it out. She want me to be in pain. Like, she's going to beat me without, can you guys imagine how a belt feels naked? Like, that's on some sadistic type stuff right there. I couldn't imagine it in that moment, but as my mind matured and I think about it now, I'm like, I really messed up. Anyway, let me read some of these comments. Let me see. So Jonathan says, I'll talk to them. I think I read this one. I'll talk to them about what they did. I'll talk to them, and what they didn't tell them, they never do it again. Okay. And then Chris said, nah, that's too far. Yeah, I agree. It's way too far. Okay. And you say, my mom was a puncher and a kicker though. Yeah, listen, I've heard some stories of kids getting beat, and they were not kind of hard. Trust me when I say this. It was horrible. Like, I remember a friend of mine got, I think he did something so bad. I don't remember what he did, but he did something so bad. Like, his parents tied him to the bed and got a branch from outside and went in on him and just started beating the life out of him. And here's the thing about beatings. You got to put culture into place. Depending on what culture you're talking about, cultures may practice certain punishments differently. It's not going to look the same way in every culture. So what may be, severe to you, to your eyes, may be perfectly normal in someone else's eyes. To me, that sounds crazy. To get beat with a branch, that sounds insane to me. But in their eyes, it's just like, you didn't take out the garbage. Consequences. In their eyes. Let's say, for example, let's make up another example. If your child decided to, have a tantrum, let's do something small. If your child had a tantrum in the stores, young child, how would you deal with that situation? Because again, depending on what culture the parent is, they may deal with it in a certain way. Would you beat your child for having that tantrum in the stores, or would you bring your child aside and say, this is how we do things? Why, if you needed to ask for something in the store, maybe you could have done it this way. Maybe you could have asked mommy or daddy for this. Use your words. For younger children, right? What do you guys think in terms of that? How would you handle a young child's tantrums in the stores? Because it's going to happen. Our children are going to get into a place where they may not be happy. They may want something that they can't obtain in the moment. And what do you do as a parent in that moment? My thing is, as a parent, what I did when I was a younger parent, rookie parent, and we say we had to do like a big shop, and we had to really get some items from the store, and our children were with us. We usually had to take our kids out of the store because it got to a children's tantrums were just too much. It was too much to handle. And my wife and I, we had to say to ourselves, you know what? Let's pick a different time or split up the time. Maybe I can get the groceries and you can be home with the kids, or vice versa. We had to do it like that because it was just too much to go shopping with a young toddler and your child is just screaming all over the store. Would you continue to shop, or would you try to figure out a way that kind of mitigates those tantrums? That was what we went through, and it was crazy times. Those are times I do not miss. I don't miss the terrible twos. You guys remember the terrible two stage? That's when the tantrums in my book really started. The terrible twos. Then you have the three-nager. The three-nager is like a little step above the terrible twos. Then you got the foreigner. The foreigner is like, oh, who is this child I'm raising? Like, who is this child? I have no idea what this child wants to do, what they want. All right, let's read Chris's comment. He said, that's what me and the mother of my kids did. I would stay with the kids and she would go shop. See? Yeah, I did the same thing, Chris. Me and you are thinking alike. I did the same exact thing because it got to a point where I was just like losing my mind, and I felt guilty a little bit as a dad, because I was like, in my mind, I was like, I don't want to go shopping with my kids. I don't want to take them anywhere with me in the stores. It's just too much. Like, you're carrying around a cart and your children are screaming. And it gets to a point where you forget about all the stares, all the judgment, because there's going to be people that judge you in the stores. They're going to look at you and think you're an unfit parent because your child is screaming, having a crazy time in the store, and they're going to be like, oh, he can't handle his own children. What a shame. I have 4 kids. It's a whole mission. God bless you, Chris. I have 2. 4 kids. I can't even imagine, man. I cannot even imagine what that's like. 4 kids and just bringing them to a supermarket and trying to get things done. God bless, man. But you got support here, man. Trust me, you got support here. It's the hardest thing to go into a store and be able to focus on what your mission is. Focus on what your mission is, to get your groceries, get the things that you need so you can leave in peace. But you got people out here, like I said, that will look at you and think you're not doing what you're supposed to do because your kid is having a tantrum. And I remember as a rookie parent, I would kind of be a little self-conscious. I would kind of be like, man, like, I really need to, I don't want people to think we can't raise our children. But as a parent, as you mature, you start feeling something different. You start feeling, I need to do what I need to do as a parent. Forget about what everyone else is thinking. They're going to judge me regardless. Okay, gotta watch MFs around your kids too. Might try to snatch one of them. Yep, oh yeah, that's a whole nother topic, Chris. That one is very true. Because there are a lot of pedophiles out here in these streets. There's a lot of scammers. There's a lot of white vans just mysteriously popping up in parking lots. You gotta watch your children. There's a lot of situations where you may be just not paying attention. You may be on your phone for one quick second, and bam, that just like that. Just like that. I've seen certain videos of people trying to kidnap kids. And it's crazy because you could be in Target just minding your business, trying to do something that you know that'll take a couple of seconds, and that's the way your kid will get snatched. Just like that. It only takes a second for something like that to happen. It doesn't take long for someone to take advantage of your children. And nowadays, a lot of us are so mentally tied down. Like we're not in the moment anymore. Like a lot of us can't even go outside and enjoy the sun. We're so plugged into our responsibilities and bills and insurance and all type of things you could think of that we're never in the moment, really. And that's why mental health is such at a crisis in this moment. We are at a mental health crisis. And that's why I'll tell any dad, any mom out there, make sure you focus on your mental health. You have to. Not only for your sake, but for your kids' sake. Our kids got to see us in a healthy state of mind. Because guess what? If they don't see us at a healthy state of mind, they're going to develop, not always, but they may develop those unhealthy habits as well because they're looking at us and we're their role models. All right, let me see. Let me read. Let someone try it. I'll go Super Saiyan real quick. If she doesn't, then the kids will pay. Yep. Listen, Chris, we're on the same page. We're having the same mindset right now. Same things as me that's going on. But like I said, you gotta watch your children in these stores. You cannot just let your children roam. And I've been around certain parents that have not vigilantly been watching their children. And a lot of times you'll see kids running up the aisles of the stores, running up and down. Their parents are looking at a certain ingredient or item on the shelf, and their kids are just relay racing past the aisles. And I'm like, you know, your child can get snatched just like that. But a lot of them, I guess, are not paying attention or not in the moment, or some of them just don't care. It got to be a reason that needs to be addressed, though, because you cannot just have your child just doing that in the stores. I've seen other videos of children destroying items in the store, and their parents are just like so timid, like, oh no, don't do that, don't break that glass. And they're just standing like several feet behind, letting the child just cause a chaos in the store. Can you guys imagine those days where parents would let their children just create this type of destruction? I couldn't do it. I honestly could not do it. I could never watch my child do something like that and stand aside and say, please don't do that. Please put that glass down. I could not be that parent. Because in my mind, my children represent me. And in my mind, again, you're not going to embarrass my name. You're not going to embarrass me. I agree, Chris. I have an old school way of thinking. There's no way I'm going to bring my child to a place and they're going to act any way they want to act. Because not only are you embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing me. And we can't do that. We cannot go somewhere and think you're gonna jump on someone's couch or act like you don't know where you came from. Act like you don't have any manners. Because again, I've seen kids go to other people's houses, jump on their couches, their shoes are on their feet, wiping the feet on the people's couch, and I'm just looking at them like, this cannot be life. There is no way this could be happening. No way. We got to show our children, again, what consequences mean. A lot of us don't confirm for our children the consequences they do. Because you got overprotective parents that may try to pick up for their children so they don't learn from their mistakes. I want my children to make mistakes. I want them to purposely make mistakes because I want to teach them that there's consequences to everything you do in life. I was raised to treat others with respect and respect for other people's things. Yeah, oh, for sure. For sure. You got to have respect for other people's things. I'm currently trying to teach my oldest daughter. You got to have respect for your things right now, because a lot of times the lesson that she's learning right now is consequences. So she has a sister, younger sister, that will take her things and maybe misplace it, or she'll just rip it up or something, like a piece of paper that was important. The other day, she had an artwork. She left this artwork on the floor. And I keep telling my oldest child, anything that you have of importance, make sure you put it in a place where you can find it, in a place where someone may not be able, or someone may be able to grab it and put it somewhere else. Because I want to show her that it's of value. You don't just put your valuable object on the table where it doesn't belong, or throw it on the floor and don't pick it up, and then get upset when something happens to it. I want her to learn this lesson, because you're going to keep going through these problems if you keep doing the same exact thing. Self-awareness is key. Yep. Self-awareness. Situational awareness. A lot of kids don't have that. They don't have a lot of situational awareness, where they know certain things are around and the dangers that could happen based on their surroundings. They don't think about these things because it wasn't probably taught to them, or it just was not taught to them. That's a lesson that I'm trying to drive for my child. She's still young, but this is the stage where we as dads, we're trainers. We got to train our children during this young stage. We're not supposed to be our children's friends, like a lot of parents think. Oh yeah, I'm your friend. Yeah. You could be friendly with your child, but you need to also be training your child. And I think that lesson goes over people's heads a lot of the times. We got to train our children to be stronger as they get older. We're not trying to train unaccountable kids to transition to unaccountable adults. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want to train our children to be lazy, not to be cleaning up after themselves, not to be self-aware, like Chris said. These are important things. But like you said, Chris, when your child becomes older, the phases will change, and then maybe you could be more friend-like with your children. Because at that age, that phase, they're more independent to do things on their own. So now you can get out of that training stage now. Now you become more of an advisor during that more independent stage your child is in. So now your child can come to you and say, oh, is this the right thing I should do, Dad? Now you can be more of their advisor during that period. This is how we should do things. Maybe you should try this and see what you can get out of that. Parenthood ain't easy. It really is not. But when you got a good support system, of maybe family, friends, or even other dads. That's where you can kind of gather what advice you can use and how you can make things better for you and your family. But again, thank you guys for joining. Chris, thank you for all those comments, man. I appreciate it. Until next time, peace.